From his first appearance in Dragon Ball Z, up to his most recent showing in the Tournament of Power, Gohan has cemented his place in Dragon Ball history as one of the most iconic characters, becoming a fan favorite and remaining as one up to this day. But naturally, with that popularity comes a lot of controversy and scrutiny when it comes to character progression. Right from when he was first introduced, we all saw that Gohan wanted to become a scholar, and after the Buu saga, Gohan pursued those goals and became exactly that. We even saw this during the 7-year time skip. But with that, it meant he was training less and less than he was before, and he had some low points in Super due to it. However, we saw him make a major comeback in the Universe Survival Saga, where he was able to train back to the point where he had access to his ultimate form again, as well as getting a massive boost in strength on top of it. And this is what we'll be focusing on for this video. I've noticed that a lot of people seem to heavily lowball Gohan, even after his increase in power, but how truly powerful is he? Well, in short terms, Gohan is definitely not someone you want to underestimate. In both the anime and manga, we saw him go from barely being able to turn Super Saiyan all the way to becoming one of the most powerful characters fighting for Universe 7. Vegeta even states that Gohan has the most potential out of anyone on the team, which doesn't mean he's more powerful at the moment, but it means that if he did keep training or if he goes back to it in the future, he could be unstoppable. There's two different continuities that we'll be talking about here, since the anime and manga both have different displays of Gohan's power in this arc, and I won't be counting them as the same Gohan. But it's worthwhile to cover both versions regardless. So let's start with the anime version of him, the one that a lot of people debate in regards to his power. A lot of you are probably going to disagree with some of the stuff I'm about to say, but I have stuff to back it all up. I know that talk about Gohan's power leads to a lot of controversy, but I'm going to give you guys evidence for the stuff I say. So a big indicator of Gohan's power that people use is his match with Goku before the tournament even began. So let's start off small with something that I can say as an objective fact which can't really be argued. At bare minimum, extremely bare minimum, Ultimate Gohan is above Super Saiyan 2 Goku. In his fight he has with Goku, Goku turned Super Saiyan 2 and Gohan began to pick up the pace during the fight, and after they start fighting at this level, Gohan not only does well against Super Saiyan 2 Goku, but he ragdolls him. He overpowered Goku to the fight where Goku couldn't even fight back here, and was basically in a state of just being tossed around. Now this is the most obvious and objective thing. You may wonder why I'm even saying it, and it's because I have seen people say that Gohan is on par with or weaker than Super Saiyan 2 Goku for some reason. I don't know why people say that, but just looking at that scene gives you undeniable proof that Gohan at least surpasses Super Saiyan 2 Goku. He did stumble at first in the fight, but Gohan wasn't even at his full power yet. Even Goku acknowledged it by telling Gohan to power up even further, and he did exactly that. Gohan started to get the hang of fighting again and powered up further, and this is where it starts to get tricky. So we're going to still be talking about the Gohan before and during the Tournament of Power. During the Tournament of Power, every Saiyan grew much stronger than they were before, as all Saiyans normally do. Vegeta even stated this later on, and we could see this through other Saiyans in the tournament. First, let's start with the rest of Gohan's fight with Goku. After performing very well against Super Saiyan 2 Goku, Gohan tells Goku to power up even further because he knows that Goku is holding back and has a higher form. Goku jumps right to Super Saiyan Blue, and the two begin to spar briefly, seemingly at equal strength. Following this, Gohan tells Goku to use more power, and Goku proceeds to use Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, but the multiplier he's using isn't specified, and Goku one-shots Gohan once he powers up to this point. So there's a few things here that we need to talk about. First, Gohan's brief fight with Goku in Super Saiyan Blue. This fight is very short and can't be used as a definite scale of his power, but we get a few things from this that can give us a range of where Gohan's power might be. Gohan fighting with Goku, even briefly, shows that he could possibly be Super Saiyan Blue level, possibly. However, a lot of people point out here that Goku could be holding back even though he's in Blue, and that is something we definitely need to consider. Gohan even knows Goku's holding back, and makes Goku use his full power with Kaioken, by telling him to actually power up. And since he gets one-shotted, we could say with certainty that he's at least below Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. But we don't know what level of Kaioken Goku's using here, yet we have no reason to believe he's holding back, and you could tell he's fighting seriously, so we can assume he's probably using some higher form of Kaioken. One thing I will say is, even if Goku was holding back in Super Saiyan Blue, I feel it's safe to say at this point Gohan is at Super Saiyan God Goku level, at bare minimum, so we can put him above Super Saiyan God, but below Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. And while the things I mentioned point towards him being weaker than Super Saiyan Blue, there's also some contradicting stuff that points to him being on par with it. Goku refers to Gohan as being one of the best opponents he can have, and the narrator straight up says that Gohan has power that rivals Goku's, which are big pointers that work in favor of Gohan being Super Saiyan Blue level. And since there's not much else to cover for this portion of the fight, taking everything into account, we can at least say safely that Gohan is definitively above Super Saiyan God at this point, and arguably at Super Saiyan Blue level. There wasn't enough of the fight to suggest he's Super Saiyan Blue, so that's why I said it's arguable, but the fact that the narrator even says Gohan's power rivals that of Goku's makes me believe he might be on par with Goku in Super Saiyan Blue at this point, but it's up for debate. And while I do believe that, there's definitely a possibility that Super Saiyan Blue Goku is holding back and not fighting at his maximum output. Now let's move on to the tournament itself. And just like a lot of Super's writing, it gets really inconsistent here. First, let's start with something that implies he's around Super Saiyan Blue level. Gohan himself believes that he could take on Golden Frieza if necessary, and says so without making it seem like he's bluffing. And if this is true, consider this. Frieza at this point is undeniably on par with Super Saiyan Blue Goku, at least he was before the tournament, and if Gohan truly could fight Frieza evenly, that would support the idea of Gohan being at Super Saiyan Blue Goku level. Now let's talk about his fight with Dispo. Dispo was far more advantaged in speed when compared to Gohan, but in terms of strength, the two appear to be on par. And we see this once he's caged in by Frieza, since they're able to fight somewhat evenly. So to accurately scale this, we need to scale Dispo first. Dispo himself was shown to be at least on par with Super Saiyan God Goku, judging by his prior fight with Goku and Hit. With Dispo, a lot of people seem to downplay him and say he's only able to do well because of his speed, and while it's true that the speed plays a big factor in his performance, speed means nothing if he has no power to back it up. Dispo was able to do some decent damage against Hit when he was predicting Hit's time skip and catching him off guard, as well as matching up against God Goku. But once Hit and Goku saw through Dispo's movements, they seemed to completely outmatch him judging by everyone's change in demeanor. Dispo was clearly shocked by the power of Super Saiyan Blue Goku once he transformed, and Hit seemed completely confident that he could face Dispo now that he sees through his movements. And against Frieza, it was pretty much the same. He wasn't beating Frieza to a pulp like Toppo did, but Frieza was clearly overwhelmed due to his speed boost. But before the speed boost, Frieza was also clearly advantaged against Dispo. And as for Dispo's ability, we don't really have that much info on how it works, but it doesn't seem to increase his attacking power at all, only his speed. You can even see this against Frieza. His attacks were overwhelming Frieza and pushing him back due to the speed, but Frieza was actually defending himself pretty well against the attacks. Once he got caged in, even with the ability still active, he was equal to Gohan, which further shows that this ability is only an increase in speed, and not power. So if Gohan is on par with this Dispo, if not above that supports the idea earlier that he's at least Super Saiyan God Goku level. And when you look at it, as the cage fight continued, Gohan started to get more advantage against Dispo. So once again, this is a feat that would allow us to place Gohan above Super Saiyan God level. But then we get more inconsistencies, since we can go back a little and discuss something that makes Gohan look like he's Super Saiyan Blue. I'll throw his name on screen, but I don't want to butcher the pronunciation, but that one triple robot fusion from Universe 3, he was facing off against Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta at one point. After they provided an opening, Gohan is able to overpower and damage this fused robot, as well as nearly knocking him off the stage. This could have been seen as an indicator that Gohan's around Super Saiyan Blue's power, but again, this is such a brief and inconsistent moment that it doesn't really make sense to definitively say that. Now to balance it out, let's give another fight that makes Gohan look weaker. Gohan on 17 had trouble fighting base Toppo, and that's pretty clear and doesn't require me to go in depth too much. Toppo before was matching up against Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta, and if Gohan was at blue level, he could have handled Toppo alone, right? So there's way too many inconsistencies in the Tournament of Power to say whether Gohan is actually at blue level or not. For the examples I just provided, 2 support him being Super Saiyan Blue level, but 2 support him being around Super Saiyan God. There's stuff that points towards it and stuff against it. It's honestly very debatable, and there's nothing really definitively that supports either side because of how inconsistent the writing is here in terms of power scaling. But once again, we could say that the information we have is enough to place Gohan at least Super Saiyan God level, or potentially between that and Blue. We'll have to see more of him in Super before we can definitively say if he's Super Saiyan Blue or not, but at least for the Tournament of Power, I think it's safe to assume that he's around God Goku level. Now let's move on to the manga, and oh my god, manga Gohan in plain terms is just insane in terms of power. He begins training again around the Zamasu arc with some gravity training occasionally, and I could say that easily, at least for the manga, Gohan is on par with Super Saiyan Blue. He's somehow way stronger here than in the anime, and the biggest thing that points towards that is his fight with Kefla. In the manga, Kale was demolishing Golden Frieza and giving trouble to Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and Kefla is beyond Kale in terms of strength. So that would mean Gohan is somewhere in the realm above Berserk Kale. But again, the writing in the manga is inconsistent in terms of power scaling, kinda like the anime. Because somehow Super Saiyan Blue Goku is almost not able to handle Kale, and then Gohan's above Kale by fighting Kefla, and if that holds true, that would mean that Gohan's above Goku, which makes no sense obviously, and is supported directly after when Krillin states that Gohan could surpass Goku if he kept training, so it shows that Gohan hasn't surpassed Goku yet, but the scaling here makes no sense. So yeah, big inconsistencies again due to poor writing. The only explanation is that Goku was holding back against Kale, which also doesn't really make that much sense. I might make an entirely different video talking about all the weird writing and scaling inconsistencies in Super, but we can at least say with certainty that in the manga, Gohan is Super Saiyan Blue tier in terms of power, potentially a little higher. So in terms of the anime, whether or not you believe Gohan is Super Saiyan Blue level is up to you. I personally feel that he's on par with Super Saiyan Blue, if not very close to it and just below. But there's so many inconsistencies that we can't really say for sure. But at minimum, I think it's safe to say he's around the power of Super Saiyan God Goku. But when talking about the manga, we see that Gohan did more training and is way more broken, being overpowered to the point where he's equal to or greater than a Super Saiyan Blue, showing how vastly different the two Gohans in each continuities are. At the end of the day, we can at least say Gohan has improved massively in regards to where he was before, and broke his limits just like everyone else around him in this arc. It's much better than where he was at before, especially during something like Resurrection F. So where do you guys think Gohan is at currently in terms of his power? Let me know your guys' thoughts below so I could hear everyone's opinions, and we can get some more insight in regards to what everyone else thinks. Given the topic, I'm sure there's already people in the comments discussing it, so let's actually see what everyone else thinks. As always, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications about any other discussion videos I make in the future, as well as other videos that I make. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.